The favorites are off to a good start at this year's US Open. Meanwhile, a few upsets so far throughout the course of the tournament as well. What's going on, everybody? It's John Eric Paul here to do a recap of the Women's US Open so far through the first two rounds in this video. We are featuring the good, the bad, and the ugly from the opening two rounds. As always, we get started with the good, and I'm going with the favorites, and we're going to start with Coco Gauff. Gauff, of course, the defending champion, and I know she has a bit of a bad draw, but it's a little bit further down the road here. Right now, in rounds 1 and 2, she's looking like one of the favorites, playing at an absolutely high level. Nice to see for Gauff, who is struggling a little bit coming into this year's tournament. Let's see if she could build on that and keep the momentum rolling. Also, guys, I want to talk really quickly, too, about Iga Swiatek, the world number one. Got off to a little bit of a rough start in round 1. She does win in straight sets. Struggled a little bit, but then she bounces back in round 2 in a big way by winning round 2 via a bagel and a breadstick. Looked absolutely great in that matchup. Let's see if she could continue what she just did in round 2 as she continues on in what's becoming a very good draw for Swiatek. Also, Aryna Sabalenka, too. Somebody that was coming into this year's U.S. Open with a lot of momentum on her side by winning in Cincinnati. Sabalenka now also playing very well early on. She's definitely a name to keep an eye out in this year's tournament. Now we go to the bad category, and it's funny if you guys watched the video that I posted yesterday on the men's side of things. It was a Greek in the bad category. Now we have somebody else from Greece in this category. It is Maria Sakkari. Sakkari, again, much like Tsitsipas, a little bit inconsistent at times. We saw her at times in 2024 compete at a high level. I remember making it all the way to the finals of Indian Wells, but that's been just about it. There's been a lot of rough goes, especially in these major championships for Sakkari, and that continued along here in the U.S. Open as she loses in the opening round of this year's tournament. Now we go to the bad category, and I have two people in this category. We'll get started with kind of the real big name here in Naomi Osaka. Osaka, I think a lot of people, myself included, expected by the time we got to this part in the year, she'd be playing at a much higher level. Not the case. She loses in round 2 of this year's U.S. Open. Now, a lot of high hopes after she won in round 1 by beating Jelena Ostapenko, but then does not look good, losing to Karolina Muchova in round 2. And again, I know this was a tough year for Osaka coming back after giving birth and whatnot, but the big highlight of her 2024 was losing a 3-set thriller to Iga Swiatek at the French Open. That's not something to really hang your head high on so far here in 2024. Also, one other name in the ugly category, and it's Danielle Collins. Collins, I thought, was a sleeper to come out of the top part of the bracket, which would be on the same side as Iga Swiatek, but Collins losing in round 1 as well. That was a very disappointing performance for Collins. Collins was having a very good year all along so far in 2024. This may be indeed her last major championship ever. I know she's most likely retiring at the end of the year, so upsetting to see her lose so early in this year's U.S. Open, but there is still a lot of tennis left for the rest of the year for Collins. We'll see if she'll make the WTA finals at the end of the year, where she definitely should be in contention there as well. So that was the good, the bad, and the ugly from the opening 2 rounds of this year's U.S. Open. We'll have continued coverage of the event right here.